NBA star Kevin Love is known for his basketball IQ, his rebounding, and his three-point shot on the court. He is a five-time All-Star, an Olympic gold medalist, and he helped the Cleveland Cavaliers win their first championship in 2016. But behind the wins, Love hid his mental health struggles. Love says he first faced anxiety and depression as a teenager, but was able to focus on basketball. Then, in 2017, he had a panic attack during an NBA game. He shared his challenges in a personal essay titled, "Everyone is Going Through Something," and got help. In 2018, he started the Kevin Love Fund to inspire others to live their healthiest lives physically and mentally. Now, they're launching a new program, which gives teachers a free curriculum to help students fight mental health challenges. That is awesome. Kevin Love joins us right now. How you doing, man?
Hey. I'm great. I'm happy to be here, guys.
So how did the idea come about?
It really came about after my my panic attack that you alluded to. Like in November of 2017, I had a panic attack, on court. It was a very public moment, something I felt like I had to hide. You know, things got a lot worse before they got better, but I started going to therapy, got my medication right, started doing the work on myself, and then it wasn't until March of 2018 where I actually penned that essay that you mentioned in the Players Tribune, and just the response that I got from that article. And after the fact, there was thousands and thousands of emails within the first week, and everything leading up to September 19th of that year and that fall, it led me into creating the Kevin Love Fund with the intention of providing tools for both physical and emotional well-being. So we've now piloted this program for the last couple of years. We found the sweet spot. You mentioned my teenage years of starting my struggle with mental health, and for me, that's where we felt like, and our directors of education felt like the sweet spot was, and being able to impact and affect people's lives, because it is such a limiting factor of potential, especially for these kids of the next generation. So it's really exciting to get this off the ground and have it be free to every school, every teacher nationwide.
It's awesome.
As of October.
It sounds like something you would have wished were available when you were a teenager.
100%. And people ask me all the time, they say, what would you tell your younger self? And for me, it was, you're allowed to be vulnerable. As a young woman or a young man, you're allowed to be vulnerable. And within the classroom, the most important thing for me is you don't have to go down the hallway with this class. You don't have to go down the hallway with this curriculum. The teachers are modeling vulnerability first, and then within the classroom, your peers are allowed to share their stories. There's 14 different lesson plans where you get to share. I laugh because I think about when I was young, through different mediums like photography. I wrote a first-person poem about my late grandmother, but I laugh because music. Music has such a way of, it's in my family, but has such a way of making, even like when you listen to sad songs, you actually feel kind of happy.
Yes.
Yeah.
And music is very healing, Kevin.
It's very healing.
Yeah,
it's very healing.
things.
So I'm the type of guy, even when I go to games, people ask me what's on my playlist. For me, it's a lot of stuff without words. It's instrumental stuff that gets me just calmed down, and it kind of alleviates the stress and anxiety of going to a game and having to perform. So it's no different for these kids having to share their first-person stories through music, like I mentioned, through different mediums, photography, creative writing, poetry, so on and so forth. So
the process of going public with your struggles, it must have been hard for you to finally make the decision to do it. And then once you did, you must have felt very relieved.
Especially in sports, where the ego
that's a really good
takes
point.
over.
Yeah.
Right. And I mean, honestly, I wasn't the first one. There's a lot of young men and young women that had come before me. But for me, within my sport, it was DeMar DeRozan. I mean, without him and him, dipping his toe in, jumping in head first, if not for him, I don't know if I'd be sitting here today and having, shared my story at the capacity and at the level that I did.
But you said something, I think, really important about the program and how it works in the classroom. You said the kids don't have to go down the hall.
Yeah.
And the process of going down the hall is what is stigmatizing, right? And there's still a stigma attached to this, a degree of shame, like something's wrong and you shouldn't be acknowledging it.
Right.
How do you address that? I mean, it's working in the classroom with the program, but how do you get rid of it in a bigger way?
I think it's continuing to have these conversations. I mean, just the fact that we're all four of us are sitting here speaking about it, and especially when kids are so susceptible to change, like that sweet spot that I mentioned, whether it's middle school, high school, early college, all the way throughout college, being able to, especially with all the pressures now of being, a young person, and having to, think about college, think about sports, think about the arts, and just having to perform, whether it's pressure from your parents, whether it's pressure from your peers, your teachers, so on and so forth. We don't want them to have to go down the hall. We don't want them to have to go to their counselors.
Right.
Even though that's available, we don't
Right.
want them to have to go to the vice principal, the principal. We want them to do it with their peers and feel like they can be vulnerable and model
Safe
vulnerability
space.
Yeah.
in the safe space
Yeah.
in the classroom. That's
Tony,
exactly
that's such a good image of
Exactly.
going down the hall. Because
Yeah.
when you're
It's a
a
great
kid,
metaphor, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
nobody wants to go down the hall. Could we talk about your marriage? I'm so
Okay.
your wedding. Your
Congratulations.
wedding.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for you, Kevin,
Nice
because I
pivot there.
remember.
I like it.
Well, I mean, not everybody's comfortable talking about their wedding, but number one, the pictures were great. Kate looked
Oh, look at
fantastic. But I love that.
Nice little first dance there. Yeah.
Look at that.
What was the song? What was the song for First Dance?
It was
Remember?
That's Where It's At by Sam Cooke.
That's where it's
Nice.
at.
Yeah.
Nice.
But are you with a newlywed? When I first got married, I'm divorced, but that's another story. When I first got married, I love being able
But
to
it bears
say,
mentioning.
Yeah, but I love being able to say my husband this, my husband that.
Sure.
I tried to think of a sentence where I could say my husband. Are you that kind of guy too?
Well, it was great. I take a lot of pride in that now. It's like I get to say, "This is my wife."
My
It's
wife,
new to me,
yes.
but I look at my wife Kate every time. I'm like, "This is new and this is fun. I like this." But
Yeah.
we had a longer engagement as well. It was almost about 1.5 years because of COVID. We wanted everybody to come in and enjoy themselves at the wedding and not really have to worry about that. But it was amazing. It was amazing. We did it at the New York Public Library. We had
Yes, it was beautiful. The best thing about her is what?
best thing about Kate, I just think, her temperament, who she is, her family's incredible. You can tell that she was raised right. She's a sweet girl. She's
That's
from the
awesome.
Pacific Northwest, like
Pacific
myself.
Northwest,
there we go.
baby.
Canadian, that might be the best part about her too. She's
Those Canadians.
those Canadians, man, they get you.
I love when the professional and the personal lines up. Congratulations,
Thank you
Kevin.
so much,
Thank you
guys.
so much.